Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. My name is Kathy Violago, and I'm delighted to warmly welcome you all to the ASEAN Teaching English Online Conference 2025. Now, before we move to our speaker, I'd like to cover a few of the quick housekeeping items. First, please make use of the chat for general comments and feedback, and of course, the Q&A box for questions to the speaker that you might have after her presentation. So questions in the chat may not be picked up. Audience microphones and cameras will remain off throughout the session. Certificates of attendance are available as editable PDFs after you complete the feedback form. And the feedback form link will be shared at the end of the session, and Zoom participants will also find it in the follow-up email. For everyone's safety and well-being, please be respectful in the chat and avoid posting personal details such as your email addresses or phone numbers or commercial links. If you have any safeguarding concerns, you may please contact the safeguarding at britishcouncil.org. And please note that this session is being recorded and live streamed on multiple platforms, including the Teaching English Asia Facebook. And by joining, you are agreeing to be part of this recording. It is my great pleasure to introduce to you all our speaker for today. With over 15 years of experience in teaching ESL, EFL to both young and adult learners, Mary is a certified TOEFL trainer, teacher trainer, and edtech specialist dedicated to advancing English communication skills. An accomplished language trainer and training specialist, Mary has extensive expertise in designing and delivering impactful training programs for both B2B and B2C clients across diverse cultural contexts. Passionate about innovation and education, she integrates AI tools and digital resources with traditional and creative teaching methodologies, ensuring lessons are dynamic, relevant, and student-centered. Today, Ms. Mary Rose Banaag will be speaking on Click, Create, Teach, making AI work in the English classroom. So without further ado, please join me in welcoming Mary. Mary, over to you.
All right, thank you so much. Hello, everyone. And I'm very happy to be part of the ASEAN Teaching English conference. So, welcome to Click, Create, and Teach, making AI work in the English classroom. So, I'm just going to start sharing my presentation. One moment, please. All right. Please let me know if you can see what I'm sharing or give me a thumbs up sign. All right, there you go. Okay, so now I know AI can sometimes, sound a bit overwhelming, but today we'll just keep things simple and practical. So we'll look at how we as teachers can make AI work for us to make lesson prep faster, adapt our materials easily, and create more engaging student-centered activities. And so before we dive in, allow me to share my objectives or our objectives for today. Okay, first we'll look at how AI can serve as a time-saving partner for lesson preparation. So using simple and practical prompts that teachers can easily apply. We'll also explore how integrating digital tools can boost engagement and motivation in the English classroom. Third, I'll share some examples of tablet-based activities. Okay, so that will encourage collaboration and interaction among students. And finally, we'll discuss how we can guide learners to use AI safely, ethically, and with purpose. All right. Before we get started, I'd like to get to know all of you a bit more. Let's find out where everyone is on their journey. Okay, so type your answers on the chat box. What is your AI experience level? Type 1 if you're new to AI, type 2 if you have some experience with AI, and type 3 if you consider yourself an expert or already an expert with AI. All right. So let me just check. Two, yes, there you go. All right. I see quite a number of tools, so that's great. It means you've already explored some AI tools. So I hope today you'll pick up new strategies and maybe see some fresh ways to apply them to your English lessons. And we also have some threes here. That's fantastic. Now, wherever you are on your AI journey, this session is really all about learning together. So discovering practical ways to make AI work for our teaching, our students, and our creativity. So before we dive into some specific tools or classroom examples, I'd like to share something that can help make smart, thoughtful choices about using AI in teaching. So this figure here, this framework you see is actually adapted from Nick Peachy's 2025 guide, Transforming Teacher Education with AI, published by the British Council. So it's called the AI Tools Test. Basically, it's a quick way to check whether an AI tool is really worth bringing into your classroom. Not just because it's trendy, but because it supports meaningful learning. So it starts with accessibility. Can all learners use it easily? All right. User friendliness. Okay. Does it really save time? Is it easy to use in the lesson by the teachers and learners? Next, it's the inclusivity and well-being. It reminds us to think about how students feel using it. And of course, for you teachers, how you would feel using it. Then the next one is, what do you want to do with it? Is it for a whole lesson, a skill, an activity, or an assessment? And finally, what is the outcome? What are your expectations? Will you use it to adapt for other lessons? And how much of the lesson was AI based? All right. So when you're deciding whether to use an AI tool, you can think of this framework as your quick checklist. If a tool passes this 5 tests, then it's likely a good fit for your classroom. So it's actually not about using more AI, it's about using it better. All right, so now we've looked at how to evaluate AI tools using this framework. Let's move to one of the biggest benefits teachers appreciate the most, saving time. All right? All right, so let's take a look. When used well, AI actually doesn't replace teachers. So that's the good news. It supports us. It helps us plan faster, create more materials more efficiently, and adapt lessons for different students' level without really starting from scratch each time. I'd like to think of it this way, it's teacher-led, AI assistant, and student-created. So we, as teachers, set the directions. AI helps us with the heavy lifting, and our students use these tools to produce and create. Okay, so if AI is our time-saving assistant, how do we make it understand? What exactly do we need? And that's where the power of effective prompts comes in. All right. So a prompt, which all of you, I'm sure you've been using already, it's how we communicate with it. So think of it as giving clear directions to a helpful assistant. The better we explain what we want, who it is for, the level, the tone, and the outcome, the more useful and accurate the AI response will be. So as MIT Sloan EdTech explains, prompts are like conversation starters. They guide the AI towards a specific goal or idea. So in short, your words shapes the result. When we give AI vague or incomplete instructions, because you would often get generic results. All right. So when teachers learn to prompt clearly, precisely, AI becomes really a partner in designing activities, lessons, and resources that work. Okay. So let's look at the simple structure you can use to build one which I personally use. So think of it as a recipe, clear ingredients that guide the AI to give you exactly what you need. So let me just go to the next page. So the general structure, well, one, context or role, topic, the duration, the components, and the style. All right, so let's dive into the roles of this structure. So the context or the role, because you want to tell the AI who is it for, what to do. Let's say, for example, you are an English teacher, create an English lesson for primary 3 learners. And of course, the second one, you would need to be specific with the topic. So let's say the environment, culture, the weather, and third, you also need to specify the lesson duration. So let's say 45 minutes, 50 minutes is actually up to you. The fourth one is very important. These are the components. So what do you want to include there? Do you want to include learning goals, warm up, reading, listening, speaking, writing, and the homework? Okay, and finally, it's very helpful actually to indicate the style or level. So let's say you set the tone and level. For example, you want to use A2, B2 English in a teacher-friendly format. Okay, so these 5 parts make your prompt clear, focused, and consistent, helping AI generate results that fit your lesson perfectly. Okay, so what I'll be sharing next are plug and play prompts that you can easily copy, modify, and reuse for different lessons. So you can use them in any generative AI tool you prefer, ChatGPT, Copilot, Perplexity, what have you. Okay, so let me just go to the next. There, so I call these the all-in-one four skills lesson prompt. Okay, so it's designed to help you create a complete English lesson that covers reading, writing, listening, and speaking. So you simply fill in the details here. Okay, so the grade, the topic, the lesson duration, and of course, what are those that you want to include, even the learning goals. Let's say, for example, I can statement. So fill in the details. And what's great is that it's very flexible. You can reuse this prompt again and again, changing only a few words to instantly create topics on, well, it's up to you actually. All right. And of course, if you see here, use clear teacher-friendly formatting and level-appropriate English, right? Depending on the level of your learners. And sometimes you might just want to work on a specific skill like reading and listening. And this is where the next templates come in handy. So this is focus on reading. It's perfect when you want your students to focus more deeply on comprehension and vocabulary. So you simply set the grade level, okay, and the topic, all right, and you might want to include short reading texts, okay, how many words, probably for primary, you have a maximum of 100, for middle school, it gets more. And in this example, I wanted to have 5 comprehension questions, okay, 1 vocabulary activity. You might want to indicate what kind of vocabulary activity do you want, a matching type, fill in the blanks, or find a synonym, okay, and of course, short speaking task for reflection. All right, okay, homework is also very much advisable. Okay, again, you control what you want the AI to use. So one is more for listening. Again, all you have to do is to specify the topic and the student level. So what's nice about this prompt is how adaptable it is. Okay, you can record your own voice or even use text-to-speech tools to turn the script into an audio file for class. So later on, I'll be showing you some examples on how to use text-to-speech, okay? So let's move on to two more skills that students love, but sometimes they really find struggle with it, which is the speaking and the writing. All right, so here you go. Okay, so it's ideal when you want your students to talk more and you want AI to help design activities that really get them speaking naturally. Okay, so same thing, it follows the general structure that we have. Again, what's great is that it also include, you can also include some sentence starters, all right, and pronunciation tips. So your students feel more confident speaking English. So it's quick, adaptable, and great for fluency practice. And finally, here's the writing focus prompt. All right, so it helps you create structured tasks, writing tasks, again, without spending too much time preparing them. All right, so the AI will generate even like my example here, a brainstorming task or picture prompts. So guided writing activity and even a short vocabulary list to help students express their ideas better. All right. So it's perfect for quick writing lessons that still encourage creativity and reflections. All of them works beautifully for both primary and middle school levels. So let's see it in action. So I'm going to use a sample prompt like this. This time, I've actually adapted it for middle school learners, and the topic that I use is protecting nature. Okay, so I've included the learning goals, warm up, short reading text, and listening script, speaking and writing activities, and even a homework. All right, so let's see it in action. Okay. Okay, so to save time, I've actually pre-recorded the results from ChatGPT since this is a time webinar. So let me just play. Okay, all right, one moment. So as you can see, this is the prompt that we used, create a 50-minute English lesson for middle school students on protecting nature. And once you input your prompt, okay, there you go. So AI would actually create everything. Okay. So you will have there the clear learning goals, suggested timing, an icebreaker game. All right, some vocabulary focus, a reading activity with comprehension questions, and a listening activity. And of course, the speaking task, for example, using should and shouldn't. Finally, a writing activity, and even if you have there below the homework. All right? Yeah. So what's important to note is that results from generative AI tools like ChatGPT, Gemini, or Perplexity can vary. So even when using the same prompt, sometimes you'll get slightly different outputs, and that's completely normal. And the key there is to use that to your advantage. So experiment, refine your prompt. It's really like trial and error. So until it produces exactly what you need. So the more specific your prompt, the better the outcome. All right? All right, so this is one of my favorite tools. Are you familiar with Padlet? Type yes or no in the chat box so I can get an idea of who has used it before. Okay, yes, okay, yes. There you go. I see a lot of yes. Okay, and of course, some no. Now, if you've tried Padlet before, that's really great. So you'll discover there's so much more you can do with it. Um, One of the new Padlet's newest and most exciting feature is it's a teacher Padlet TA, or the teacher assistant feature. So which can actually build an entire lesson plan for you. So this is another option that you could use aside from the generative AI that you use. So here's how it works, and I'm just going to play it again. All right. So you simply go to teacher assistant. There you go. Okay, and click on lesson plan, and you'll see a page that looks something like this. Now, all you have to do is to fill in the details, your grade level, your topic. So suppose I'm teaching the third grade. So I'll write down their third grade, and the topic is protecting nature. You know, the one that we have generated from ChatGPT a while ago. We're going to use that here. Okay, so protecting nature. And then probably you could also, well, of course, write the duration and key ideas. Maybe you'd like to practice such sustainable practices at home, at school, you know. So let me just write it down. So at home. So it's actually up to you to add more context, however you want it. And then once you're done, click generate. All right. And voila. Okay. You have a complete lesson plan for you. Okay. So you have there the lesson procedures. There you go. Instruction and exploration. All right. Various practice and application. All right. And you'll also notice after the assessment and the closure, it will suggest actually some differentiation and modification strategies. So perfect for making your lesson very inclusive and adaptable to students' needs. Extension activities like poster making, creating digital stories or posters. So once you're done, okay, you can actually just share. You can share, export it by PDF or even as a Word document. So you can edit, tweak, and reuse it anytime. All right? Give me a thumbs up sign or a heart if you think it's amazing. All right. So a few clicks, a bit of a detail, and this Padlet gives you ready to teach customizable lesson plans. I see a lot of hearts and thumbs up sign. Thank you. All right. So, but wait, there's more. Also with the Padlet, you have the text leveler. Okay, so this AI feature helps you instantly adjust the reading level of any text article or web page. So it fits your student's level. So you see how it works. You will just have to probably copy paste a chosen text that you want, upload your text, and then choose a grade level here. Okay, just the same, and click on generate. All right, so in seconds, Padlet would actually rewrite the contents using simpler vocabulary, shorter sentences, and clearer structure. All right, so I did not upload anything for copyright purposes, but I think you get the idea. All right, and it's very good for mixed ability readers, when you want to make a text more accessible for learners. So speaking of copyright, before you start experimenting with it though, just a quick reminder, even though the text leveler rather rewrites the text, the original content may still be protected by copyright. So teachers always use materials that are your own, probably that are in the public domain, those worksheets that supplied by the school, or educational or Creative Commons license. So a simple reminder, if you didn't create it, check the source before uploading. So this way we can stay creative, ethical, and compliant while taking full advantage of what AI can do to support inclusive teaching. All right, so let's move forward. Um, So AI plus digital tool integration. When we integrate AI and digital tools, we actually move uh, beyond lesson planning. So we start creating interactive experiences. For example, you can use AI to generate personalized reading text or vocabulary lists, and then you bring them to life using digital tools like Padlet, Canva, or Mural, or whatever you've already using. So this actually creates a collaboration, okay, and students, share their own work. All right. Okay, so let's do another quick check. What digital tools have you tried in your class, whether online or in person? So maybe you can type it on the chat box. Padlet, Canva, Kahoot. Okay, let me just check the chat here. Word wall. Yeah, Canva is very popular. Perplexity. Okay, Copilot, Prezi. Okay, there. So Lumi. All right. And then so many. Okay, Mentimeter. All right, there. So you really know your digital tools. All right. Again, the tools that you're using, this tool show how digital platforms can really transform engagement and collaboration in our lesson. Okay, so I'm going to the next page. One moment, please. I'm using Padlet actually here. So why combine class activities with Padlet? Because again, we're building collaboration and creativity. So learners share their thoughts together, not in isolation. It also helps students gain confidence in writing and speaking because their ideas are being seen and not just graded. Also, it supports multimodal literacy because you have your text, your image, your voice, and your video. And there's also differentiation because every learner, regardless of their level, can contribute at their own level and pace. And again, best of all, the Padlet naturally becomes a digital portfolio. So a record of class learning that can be revisited for reflection and assessment. All right. Let me just proceed. Okay, so this is actually, this would probably be your favorite part of the webinar, the classroom applications. And by the way, before using any online tools that require sign up, check please the school guidelines for safe online use. Make sure that the relevant people, the learners, parents, and school communities know that you're using this tool, and encourage students not to share any personally identifiable data while using them. So some tools may collect data and some may have age restrictions. So find out what you can about each tool before using it. Okay, so let's take a look at some collaborative activities that you can use the very next day, okay, with the digital tool Padlet. All right. So this is still it within Padlet. Now do you remember the AI generated lesson plan on protecting nature? So this can come actually as a collaborative post activity, the Venn diagram in Padlet. This is where we can bring to life the lesson. So instead of working on paper, okay, student can post their ideas directly onto the Padlet, and they can share, how they practice sustainability at home or in school or both. Okay, and their notes will automatically appear there, all right? And they just have to write their names there. So let me just press play here. All right. So you have there the instructions above. Let's think about how we protect the environment at home or in school. So how do you post? So you just simply click on this icon, okay? And you can even color code, okay? Up to you how you'd like the color to be, all right? You can assign colors, and then they would just have to write down their ideas there, all right? And another thing about Padlet is its built-in safety features. Okay, So what do we mean when we say safety features? So here, teachers can control the privacy and post settings to create a safe online space. So for example, you can turn on post approval. There you go. So you can review the submissions before they appear on the wall. So it helps content appropriate and positive. All right, so students, Padlet's free versions actually lets you create up to 3 boards, okay? So, which is perfect for small projects like this. Students don't need an account. They just open the link that you send them and join the activity in real time. All right, moving forward. Okay, so let's say you want to focus on grammar and vocabulary. This is where the students practice past simple verbs, for example, comparison and theme vocabulary like community, transportation, nature, and festivals, or these are just examples. Okay, so let me move to a sample Padlet wall that we have. So called My Word Wall Challenge, My Community Adventure. Okay, so as you can see here, the teacher has posted the instructions and even model answers here. Okay, then students add their own short posts. Probably it's even better if they can put pictures, okay? Maybe describe a community or a festival, okay? And how they get around their city, all right? So some of you can relate to the pictures that we have here. All right, so each post gives them a chance to actually practice past simple verbs, for examples. Compare topic and then also topic related vocabulary in a meaningful and personalized way. So this kind of interaction transform traditional writing exercises into a collaborative conversation where everyone participate and language feels authentic, visual, and social. So, but wait, there's more. If you'd like to give students extra activity or some homework focusing on vocabulary, how about creating flashcards? All right, to reinforce what they've learned. Okay, so I'm moving to the next page. We're going to use, again, ChatGPT. And then this is the prompt, okay, that you're going to use. And the words that we have here were actually taken from the AI generated lesson plan that we used. Okay, so 8 words. Okay, so just type in the prompt. Okay, so let me just play it again. There you go. All right, enter your prompt, and there you will have it has generated lists of vocabulary, even with example sentences. Okay. All right. And I suggest saving this output in a Word document so you can easily reuse or modify it. Okay. All right. Uh, how to create the flashcards aside from, I think some of you use Quizlet, right? Kahoot. Okay. And we go back to, again, Padlet TA. All right, so inside Padlet TA, you'll also find interactive activities. And the great thing is that most of them are free to use. Okay, so let me press play. So one moment. There you go. So click on flashcards and it will take you straight to the flashcard interface. All right? And watch the magic happen. So let's say you wanna, I wanna create something for the 4th grade. All right, type in your topic, protecting nature. And this is where you copy and paste the list of words you generated earlier from ChatGPT. All right, so and that's why it's important to save it in a Word document. All right, so you can also just upload it if you don't want to copy and paste it. So here I will paste it. There you go. And once you're done checking with it, you can click now generate. All right, and give it a few seconds, to brew, just like cooking. All right, so while you're waiting for it, you can go back and check for probably some errors. Okay, like this one. Okay, I might have overlooked it. Okay, and while waiting, please give me a heart sign, okay, if you're excited to see what it would bring you. All right, there you go. So voila, it automatically creates interactive flashcard complete with the flip. So students can also test themselves and even mark whether they got it right or wrong. So this is how it would look like from their end. All right, so you just have to click on preview. There you go. And then I got it right, I got it wrong. Okay. And also, you click share when you're ready to share it to your student. You can share it as a link. Okay. There you go. Or a QR code. Okay. And once you're satisfied, you can just choose copy student play link there. And that's the one you'll distribute for your learners for instant access. There you have it. All right. Okay, so let's go to the next one. More samples for you. All right. So let's take a look at how we can integrate skills, like writing, vocabulary, speaking fluency. You want to bring this all together. We're going to go back to the Padlet board. It's actually one of my favorite. I use this a lot. Okay, it's called "What's in an Object?" A 6-word story with adjectives. So students would just need to use 6 words. You can make it 6, 7, 8. It's actually up to you. I like to use 6. All right, and it's a gentle shift from storytelling to descriptive writing because students start using adjectives if that's the focus of your lesson and sensory language, which makes their writing more vivid and expressive. All right, so they can post a picture and actually write down some 6-word sentence here. Tall green water bottle spilled everywhere. Okay. And to support students during the speaking part, I've also include, or you can include actually a short model or guide right here on the Padlet. So it's called the 1-minute speaking guide for 6-word stories. Okay, so this would actually guide them with some sentence starters, and you can actually use this during show and tell. All right, so they can practice their speaking. All right, okay, so let me just move over to the next part, which is collaborative story writing and plus the story spine framework. Collaborative storytelling and writing engage students because they turn language into a shared purposeful activity. When learners work together, they aren't just following instructions, they're inventing, they're negotiating meaning, and of course, they're responding to each other. All right, have you heard about the story spine framework? Type yes or no on the chat box. Story spine framework. No, no, yes, some of you, yes. All right. Okay, so let's take a closer look what the story spine framework is and how it can be applied to the classroom. Okay, sadly no, but yes, we're going to dwell and talk about it. Okay, so just a quick background of the story spine framework. This is really good if you want to have collaborative story writing and digital storytelling, if you want to introduce it. Okay, so the story spine was first developed in 1991 by improvisation instructor Ken Adams. Ken Adams helped actors and writers build well-structured stories. And then in 1997, Rebecca Stokely, who later worked at Pixar, there you go, learned the framework in one of Adam's workshop and introduced it to the Pixar team. So it soon became a staple of their creative processes and was widely recognized thanks to its many use of course, of the Pixar's most celebrated films. Films we grew up with, or you grew up with rather. Okay, so how does it go? This is the framework. So you begin with some prompts also. Start with once upon a time and every day until one day. You can reuse because of that 2 or 3 times. It's actually up to you. And then until finally, and end it with ever since then. So these cues gently lead students to the natural rhythm of storytelling, from setting and conflict to resolution. So it makes this what makes this framework so effective, its flexibility. So it works beautifully across different age groups and topics. So whether students are writing short paragraphs, crafting digital stories, or building collaborative class narratives. So let's see it in action. All right, you will love this. Okay, so let me just go here. So on our Padlet wall, this is how the story spine would look like. All right, so let me just play it again. There you go. So each column you see here represents one student, their name on top, and under it are their posts that follow the story spine prompts. Okay, so it's just showing you how to add names there. All right, so you have here once upon a time, every day, until one day, because of that, until finally, and ever since that day. So they can create their own stories like my favorite pet, or in this case, a football game. So as students move down their column, they build their story step by step. So this helps them see the logical sequence of events and how one action can lead to another. All right. So what's great about this setup is that everybody's working on the same Padlet. So it becomes a shared storytelling space. So students can read each other's stories, leave comments, and learn from different writing styles and ideas. So by the end, you can see how each student's story develops from start to finish, all in one collaborative board. Okay. So, and let me just pause here to highlight. Uh, this is also part of the feature of Padlet, where students can record their own voices to bring their digital stories to life. So, almost like a MIDI podcast. So, it helps them practice their pronunciation, rhythm, and expression while making their stories sound real and personal. Because when they hear themselves speak, it builds confidence and helps them notice how tone and emotion shape communication. So let's see where you can find it. Just click on the plus sign here. All right. And then there you go. And you can see here the audio recorder and the AI speech. All right. All right. There you go. Okay. So let me go to the next page or the next slide to make this activity more accessible, because sometimes you just have three Padlets. Okay, if you're on the free tier, you can turn this into a short slide deck or export it as a PDF. Okay, so you can keep a copy for portfolio. So you just click the dots here and then export it as a PDF. And then the PDF is perfect for sharing through platforms like Google Classroom, Canvas, or you can even email it to their parents for show and tell, or even uploading to a shared drive for easy student access. So Padlet is wonderful on its own, but of course you can also have other tools to make the final story come alive. This is something very familiar for you, like most of you mentioned Canva. Okay, so to create digital stories, so it's drag and drop design. All right, they just choose a template, add photos, clips, icons, or background music. Okay, simple, creative, and a great way, especially for digital storytelling. All right. All right. Okay, so let me just move to the next slide. One moment, please. Okay. All right. Of course, when we talk about AI in the classroom, we often focus on how it saves time or create exciting activities. But just as important as how our students use AI responsibly. So as teachers, we guide not only language learning, but also digital citizenship. In this age of chatbots and image generators, we have a shared duty to help students use AI wisely, safely, and ethically. Okay, so why we need to teach ethical AI use? Because AI is incredible, but I think from your experience, it can also mislead, copy, or have biased information. So UNESCO reminds us that education must ensure human oversight and ethical reflection in the use of AI. So that means helping students understand what AI can and cannot do, and making them think critically before they click copy. So, for example, when a student uses ChatGPT as a translation app, you can ask guiding questions. How do you know this is the correct answer? What would you change to truly make it on your own? Did AI mention its sources? All right. You can also make some three classroom priorities here. Inform them. Uh, Data privacy. Many AI tools collect or store text and images, and we must remind students never to share personal information. So also plagiarism is easier than ever with AI generated writing. So instead of banning it, we can teach students how to use it as a helper, not a ghostwriter. So for example, they can use AI to brainstorm ideas or get feedback on grammar, but they should always rewrite in their own words. Okay? And finally, fairness and inclusivity. Sometimes it's biased, because they are trained on data that is not neutral. So teachers can use this as a learning opportunity. Probably ask students to analyze AI generated text. Whose voice is missing here? Is this example fair to everyone? And also, we can encourage students to explore local or regional topics when they use AI, so the content reflects Asian culture and language, not just Western ones. Okay, to make AI safe and productive, let's set clear classroom guidelines together with the students. All right, you can have AI user agreement with your class. Always credit AI resources or check facts. Okay, there you go. So AI can assist, but students must own the learning. So the question is not should students use AI, but how can we teach them to use it wisely? That I believe is our most important role in the new digital era. So as we wrap up today's session, I'd like to leave you with a thought from Fei Li, co-director of Stanford Institute for Human-Centered AI. She reminds us that artificial intelligence is not a substitute for human intelligence. It's a tool to amplify human creativity and ingenuity. So, in closing and in summary, my dear teachers, these technological wonders serve as powerful sidekicks, making our jobs more dynamic and effective. Think of it as your reliable teaching assistant, available 24/7, able to take care of those repetitive tasks that we don't like to do. While you focus on what truly matters, you build connection, sparking creativity, and fostering deep understanding in your students. Most importantly, AI and digital tools enhance rather than replace the human touch in teaching. Because, while AI can give feedback on pronunciation or suggest grammar corrections, it can't read the room, pick up a student's frustration, or encourage a learners to speak up and give them the total learning experience. That's where all of you come in, guiding students with empathy and expertise, turning language learning into a vibrant social experience. So let me end this with just a reflection question from all of you. What will your next AI powered lesson look like? All right, so think about it. All right, so thank you everyone for listening, and you can find me on LinkedIn. And I think we're ready for the Q&A. Thank you, everyone. So I'm just going to stop sharing my screen.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much, Mary. That was a very insightful presentation. And I do agree with you that with what you said a while ago about how AI is a tool as an assistant for many of our teachers here with us today. And I did really enjoy your presentation and how you've provided prompts at the very beginning to guide our teachers on how to use AI, because there are a lot of AI tools out there, but I think the challenge for many of us is really identifying which AI tools to use, how we can use them to our own benefit. And I think one of the things you've shown, which was the use of Padlet, was really helpful for many of our teachers, because I didn't personally, I'm also a teacher and I didn't know that you can create lesson plans in Padlet. And I liked how you even showcased the Story Spine framework. It's also a very fun and interactive game for our students. So thank you so much, Mary, for your presentation. And now, as you've mentioned, we'll open the floor to some of our questions here today. We do have a lot of questions coming in from our participants, and allow me to read one of the questions. One question we have is, how can we achieve our learning goal outcomes through AI?
Well, of course, you would just have to set the objectives there. All right. At the
Mhm.
beginning, of course, as teachers, you would have to set this target. And the outcomes actually is what you produce visually. You know, if you see there on
Mhm.
Padlet, if they're sharing their stories, if they're recording their voice, okay, if they're interacting or writing comments, okay, I guess you have already achieved your learning outcome in every digital tool that you'd like to use.
All right. Thank you, Mary, for answering our question. Another question in relation to Padlet, is a reading passage created by generative AI considered as copyrighted and therefore should not be uploaded to Padlet? And in the
Mm.
case when the text is given citation, do teachers have to get the consent of the human authors before uploading it to the AI platforms?
Um, just to be safe, okay. I think for some schools, the schools actually provide the learning, let's say, a reading passage. Okay, so you can actually upload it again. Just what I've mentioned. Before using any digital tool, okay. Ask school permission. Also you would have to consider where it came from, so make sure it's like copyright free. All right. But as not to make it complicated, you actually can make your own lessons. All right, I'm sure you've had lessons in the past. You can actually take those lessons and actually give them a revamp, digitalize them, make it updated. Those lessons in like 10 years ago, it's still true now. Okay, you can actually
Mhm.
just recycle them using the Padlet or Chat GPT or whatever generative AI you'd like to use. I do that. The thing there is that to answer your question, yes, okay, I think it's better to ask permission from the authors of this, because again, we want to be responsible. We want to practice being responsible in using AI and digital tools.
Yes, and I agree with you, Mary. I think that also falls under the ethical use of AI. So yeah, I think if there's something that we're quoting from someone, it's best to just quote the authors there. And as mentioned a while ago, that a lot of our teachers can benefit from using AI, but this leads me to my next question. How do we avoid students from using AI to fully writing their assignments, especially if they're
Mm.
already so reliant on it?
Yes, okay. So it's more of like, how do we prevent AI cheating?
Yes.
Okay, yes, there you go. Okay, we cannot uh take away that fact. Okay, so what you can actually use is personally, I tell my students to give me the outline, the because they have a pre-draft. All right. A pre-draft, or probably I give them graphic organizers, okay, for them to write down their pre-writing task. Okay. And from there, I think that's how I would see if it's their idea, right? Because bottom line is it's better if it's their idea. Again, AI would actually just enhance it. Another question or activity that you could do with your students is, especially for writing, personal experiences. Let them use their give activities that require them to share their personal experiences. All right, and that's how you would know that they're the ones writing it. And also, you can check real learning, by adding quick oral summary, okay, or in class follow up. You can even ask let's say, if they use artificial intelligence, maybe you can ask them, what did AI suggest? Okay, what did AI ask you to do? How did AI ask you to modify this? Do you agree with AI's modification? Because it's a personal experience. So it actually allows them to think critically. And of course, responsible, no cheating involved. All right, I hope I answered the question there.
Yes, I think you really did answer the question, Mary. So thank you. Thank you for that. We still have a few minutes. I do have another question from the chat here. They also said, of course, they appreciated your discussion and prompts and digital tools that were mentioned. So the question is, how else can I incorporate and maximize technology in my practice? Furthermore, the ethics in using AI tools is also crucial in developing responsible global citizens among our students.
Okay, probably okay. In the handouts, I'm actually you're actually you can download the handouts actually. So I've also included there some links actually on how you can read ethical standards, the one of UNESCO. There are many resources out there to ensure that you're actually following ethical standards. Nowadays, it's still there is still like a gap to fill in between, because we're let's say it's just new, especially the generative AI. All right. And this is actually something that I think the next generation or more research would be very helpful. Webinars like this, questions that actually the audience ask. Okay, so even me, okay, that question, oh yeah, okay, there are still some things that I would need to research, I would need to use. So not just what do we have here. So read more information, read more resources. The handouts that I'll be giving you will include the links provided. Okay, and of course, discuss it with your students.
Yes, I agree with you on that, Mary. Another follow-up question, I think in relation to that as well, is in your opinion, what role should teachers play when AI becomes a common tool for learning language?
A facilitator and a moderator there. So that's actually your role there. Because you cannot stop them. Okay. We
Mhm.
cannot stop the changing technology. All right. Even when I was studying long time ago, there was no internet. Okay. So now that you have the internet, okay, there are still some um, ethics that we follow. Okay. When we use the internet, same with the artificial intelligence and digital tools. So again, instead of telling them what not to do, okay, think of ways, how can I make this better for my students? Okay, and I think I've also included that in one of my slides on asking them questions. What did AI ask you to do? Okay, how can you modify this? Let's say for grammar, okay, try to check. All right, you as teachers know your grammar rules. Okay, and from my experience, the generative AI there's actually still some errors there. So be a moderator, be a facilitator. Okay, so I think not a dictator of what, the traditional classroom is no longer, where you just sit down and just listen to the teacher. I think it's all long time ago. It's Jurassic.
Yes, and I think I do 100% agree with you, Mary, on that because we do have our AI tools, again, it's there to guide our learners, and as teachers, it's a way for you to also guide your students into maximizing the different resources that are being provided to them. So yeah, so definitely a facilitator and moderator. And with that note, we would like to once again thank you, Mary, for your time and for sharing with everyone here today your presentation, and of course the very helpful tools that our teachers can use and further explore on their own. So once again, everyone, let's give Mary a big hand. So thank you so much, Miss Mary.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much, A and Kathy.
And as we wrap up the Q&A, I'd like to explain how for everybody how you can access your certificates. A question that was also raised by our participants. So for you to access your certificates for today, you simply scan the QR code presented on the screen to access our post-event survey. And after completing the survey, you'll see a thank you message with a link to download your certificate. So first, complete the feedback survey via the QR code or link that is shared in the chat box. And then after submitting, you will see a thank you message with a link to download your certificate. Open the PDF using your desktop browser and then simply delete the placeholder text, name, surname, and save your personalized certificate. So your feedback is definitely valuable. So please do take a moment to complete the survey. And of course, it will also help us improve our future events. So scan that QR code or click the link in the chat box. As we come to the end of this session, again, I would like to thank Mary for a great session, a lot of things, a lot of insights shared with us today. But we still have more fantastic speakers and sessions ahead. Our next session is an expert panel session on adapting to change, stories from the field in Southeast Asia at 4 o'clock to 5 o'clock p.m. UTC or 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock a.m. for the UK. Our speakers for this panel session will be Yuni Tampi from Indonesia. Apologies if my pronunciation is incorrect. Kanchanokchon Wodison from Thailand, and Miat Noi Luin from Myanmar. And we hope you can all join us in this coming session. So once again, thank you so much, Miss Mary Banaag, for today's excellent session. And thank you all for joining us. Let us make the rest of the ASEAN Teaching English Conference 2025 a valuable and transformative experience for everyone. Enjoy the upcoming sessions, everyone. Thank you and goodbye.